Gi-hun didn't just get lucky in Squid Game. He survived in ways that defied logic, probability, and sometimes even common sense. Time and time again, he found himself on the brink of death, only to be saved by a twist of fate, another player's instincts, or sheer blind luck. His survival wasn't driven by sharp instincts or fierce athleticism. Instead, Gi-hun stumbled, hesitated, froze, and still walked away, alive. His first brush with death came during the very first game, red light, green light. The second the giant doll turned around and the shooting started, Gi-hun froze, not from clever strategy, but sheer panic. People were screaming, blood was flying, bodies dropping left and right, and he just stood there, paralyzed.
You're gonna die if you stay like that. I think that doll is a motion sensor. It won't be able to catch you if you're behind someone.
He didn't move because he didn't know what to do. And in that moment of chaos, it was someone else's voice, Sang-woo's, that cut through the fear and told him how to survive. That doll's a motion sensor. Hide behind someone. That advice alone kept Gi-hun alive, but his luck didn't stop there. As the timer ran down and he made his final sprint for the finish line, he tripped. Of course he did. Right over a corpse. A dead man lying between him and survival. With seconds left and the doll watching, someone behind him grabbed his arm and held him upright. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. They just steadied him, waited for the green light, and together they crossed the line. Gi-hun survived not because he was strong or fast, but because two people, Sang-woo and a stranger, saved him. That was game one. In the next game, his so-called luck took a different shape, literally. In the Honeycomb Challenge, players had to cut out delicate shapes from brittle sugar candy. Choose wrong, crack the shape, and you die.
They were heating sugar.
Got anything? Not yet.
When the staff told players to pick a symbol, circle, triangle, star, or umbrella, Gi-hun was left guessing. Sang-woo, already suspecting what the game was, chose a simple shape for himself. Gi-hun asked him if he knew anything. Sang-woo lied. Gi-hun ended up picking the umbrella, the hardest shape of all.
The shape you have chosen is the shape you must remove from the honeycomb.
When the game started and players began snapping their needles or dying from pressure, Gi-hun panicked. His hands were shaking, his candy impossibly thin. But then, pure chance. A single drop of sweat fell from his chin and landed on the honeycomb, slightly melting it. That was the miracle. It sparked an idea. Gi-hun began licking the candy furiously, thinning it from the back until with seconds left, the umbrella popped out clean. No one helped him. No tip, no tool, just panic, desperation, and a drop of sweat that changed everything. Another impossible escape, another win he didn't really earn. By the time the tug-of-war game came around, Gi-hun should have been dead 10 times over. His team was a disaster on paper. Old man Il-nam, Se-byok, even Min-ho, all considered weak by the other players. But somehow they held their ground. Il-nam gave them a classic technique: lean back, lock in, hold the line for 10 seconds, and it worked. Then the other team surged back and they were slipping one by one. That's when Sang-woo yelled,
Take 3 steps up when I signal!
But that's the edge!
Look, just trust me and they'll fall!
It sounded suicidal. They were on the edge of a platform with nothing below but death. But Gi-hun trusted him. At the exact moment the other team pulled hardest, they stepped forward, breaking their opponent's rhythm. The other team stumbled. Gi-hun's side yanked the rope, and just like that, they won. It wasn't just one trick that saved them, but a perfect storm of timing, trust, and luck, yet again. In Squid Game Season 2, red light, green light returned. Gi-hun should have stayed out of it. He had already crossed the finish line, but then another player, Namdoo, got shoved. Wounded and crawling, bleeding from a leg wound, he begged for help.
Please don't shoot!
Against all logic, Gi-hun turned back and grabbed him, They lost balance. The doll's voice rang out, "Red light!" They were exposed. That should have been it. But Hyunju, a former soldier, appeared and grabbed Namdo's other arm, helping to steady both of them. They froze, balanced just enough to avoid detection, and survived. Namdo was executed moments later. Gi-hun lived, again because someone stronger, someone braver stepped in at the exact right moment. Then came the six-legged pentathlon, a brutal team relay with games from childhood. Gi-hun's leg of the challenge was Jegi, a foot game where he had to keep a feathered puck in the air. He hit it 4 times, then kicked and missed the 5th. That should have meant death for his entire team. But Inho, the player tied to him, instinctively shifted his leg. That movement jolted Gi-hun's leg just enough to tap the puck midair. It counted. They ran. Timer said 1 second. They crossed. The other team was executed. Gi-hun didn't save anyone. He failed his turn. But Inho's reflex, his subconscious reaction, saved all 5 of their lives. Another narrow escape, another miracle. Perhaps the most morally difficult moment came in Season 1, Episode 6, during the marble game. Each player had to win 10 marbles from their partner. The loser died. Gi-hun's partner was Il-nam, the old man he'd befriended and even protected.
I know my house is nearby. It's somewhere down this alley.
But Il-nam began to show signs of dementia, wandering the replica neighborhood, calling out for his old home. Gi-hun took advantage of it. He tricked Il-nam into playing odd or even, then manipulated the confused man into giving away his marbles. Il-nam paused. He smiled. "We're friends who share everything," he said.
Take it. It's yours anyway.
Handing Gi-hun the final marble. Il-nam knew he was being cheated. He knew the rules. He knew the truth, because he was the mastermind behind the games. But he let Gi-hun win anyway. That was mercy. That was luck. That was survival Gi-hun didn't deserve. And finally, the infamous glass bridge. 18 players. Each step was a coin flip between tempered and regular glass. Fall wrong and you die. Before the game began, each player had to pick a vest with a number. Gi-hun at random picked number 1, the first in line. That should have sealed his fate.
Number 1 instead. I want to get at least one last chance to claim ownership of my life. Sir, give me this chance to lead.
But another player, number 96, begged him, "Let me go first. I want to decide my life for once." Gi-hun handed over the vest, and moments later, number 96 was dead on the second panel. If Gi-hun had kept his number, he would have been gone. Another player's desperation spared him from a death he never saw coming. If Gi-hun had kept number 1, he might have been the first to fall. Instead, by sheer accident, not strategy, he ends up with vest number 16, the very last in line. It's a fluke, but from the back, he gets the best view. He watches as player after player plunges to their death, memorizes the safe tiles, and calculates his odds. 10 tiles remain. 11 players are still alive. But as the numbers shrink and the stakes rise, panic creeps in. He freezes until Sae-byeok whispers.
It's the left one.
That single whisper snaps him out of it. It keeps him moving.
Anyone want to get across? Well, you better go first then!
But they aren't safe yet. Daku refuses to move forward, paralyzed by fear. The timer is ticking down. Then Minho grabs Daku in a desperate final act, dragging him to his death and clearing the way. Hope returns briefly when a glassmaker steps up, claiming he can tell the difference between the panes. It works until the lights go out. The glassmaker hesitates, blinded, and Sang-woo shoves him. Another death. Gi-hun finally runs. The timer hits 0. The bridge explodes behind him, glass raining like shrapnel. And in the chaos, Sae-byeok is hit, deep, lethal. She doesn't scream at first, but she's bleeding badly. It's silent but deadly. That shard might as well have been a bullet. She's dying. Guihan barely escaped with a scratch. One step closer and it would have been him bleeding on the floor. He didn't survive that bridge because he was smart. He didn't earn it. Even Sang-woo tells him straight,
You got lucky choosing the back of the line.
and Guihan knows he's right. But that night, luck alone couldn't save Se-byuk. In their room, she's dying slowly. Guihan bangs on the door, shouting for help, screaming for guards.
We need help! She's lost a lot of blood! Somebody get in here!
But when the door finally swings open, Guihan turns and sees Sang-woo at her bed. Blood, a knife, she's gone. Guihan never left the room. He was exposed, vulnerable, unarmed, and Sang-woo had every reason to kill both of them. When Guihan later asks him, why? Sang-woo doesn't even blink.
You would have given up. Stop playing just so you could save her. You and that girl would have been the majority you needed to get out. Going home without a single cent? I can't do that!
The only reason Guihan is still breathing is because the guards opened that door in time. His luck didn't run out. It got tighter around him. It wouldn't just save him in the final game. It nearly saved him in the real world too, just before it all spiraled. In Season 2, Guihan isn't running or fighting. He's handcuffed, unarmed, caught at the wrong place at the worst possible time. Jun-ho walks in to find the recruiter dead, moments after he's shot himself. No witnesses, no context, just Guihan standing there. It looks like murder. Jun-ho doesn't hesitate, pulls his gun, then bang, but not from the trigger. A fire extinguisher slams into Jun-ho's head. Woo appears, unplanned, unexpected, just lucky. 5 seconds later, and Guihan would have been arrested or killed. He didn't fight his way out. He survived because of someone walked in. But even before that, luck was working overtime. Because the trigger? It had already been pulled once. In a twisted game of Russian roulette, Guihan sits across from the recruiter. One bullet in the chamber. They take turns pulling the trigger, but they don't spin the cylinder. That means by round 6, someone's dead.
We take our turns like we're supposed to, except we don't spin it each round. That way we know the bullet will be fired by round 6 at the latest.
With every click, the odds worsen. Finally, it's down to a 50-50 shot. The recruiter calmly says,
The odds that gun will kill you are 1 in 2 now. That probability is pretty high, right?
He doesn't point the gun at his captor. He puts it to his own head and pulls the trigger. Click. He lives. It's not bravery. It's not math. It's raw, terrifying chance. Because the bullet was still in the gun, just not next. The recruiter takes it back, pulls the trigger once more. Boom. Luck saved Guihan. The recruiter wasn't so fortunate. And that wasn't the only 50-50 that mattered. Right before the final game, a coin is flipped to decide who moves first. Guihan wins. He chooses offense. It seems small, insignificant, but in Squid Game, offense moves first. Defense can only block. That tiny lead gives him a one-step advantage. One step, just enough to live. When the final game begins in the rain, Guihan and Sang-woo are soaked, bloodied, exhausted. The fight is brutal. Guihan has the upper hand. The win is his. All he has to do is strike, but he doesn't. He drops the knife. Instead of killing Sang-woo, he offers his hand. He invokes Clause 3, the rule that allows both players to walk away if they agree. Guihan is ready to give it all up. The money, the win. He turns his back, fully vulnerable, but instead of stabbing him, Sang-woo says,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Then plunges the knife into his own neck. Guihan wins by default. He didn't save himself. Sang-woo spared him. But not all luck feels like a gift. Some of it just confirms he has something left to believe in. In the final moments of Season 1, Guihan stands at Il-nam's bedside. The old man, now dying, makes one last bet.
That man out there, if he remains out there until midnight, I win. If anyone goes to help the drunk before then, in that case, you win.
The man is drunk, freezing in the street. Hours pass. No one helps. Guihan watches the clock and watches his hope fade. This isn't just a game, it's a question. Do people still care? After everything, he's not sure. Until the last second, a stranger arrives. calls the police, stays with the drunk. Guihan wins, but more importantly, he's right. It wasn't all meaningless. Someone still cares, and that just barely restores his will to live. But sometimes luck isn't about meaning. Sometimes it's just survival. When the players stage a rebellion in Season 2, it fails. Outnumbered, outgunned. One by one, they fall. Guihan runs out of ammo, then options. He surrenders, kneeling, silent. The frontman steps forward, gun raised. It looks like the end. But instead of killing Guihan, he turns and shoots Young Bae. Blood splatters across Guihan's face. He flinches, but he's still alive. Once again, he was next. He should have been dead. But somehow, luck saved him again, and maybe that's why Guihan's kill count remains at 0. He didn't win by killing. He didn't survive by fighting. He just kept getting lucky. And in the world of Squid Games, sometimes that's all it takes. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon for more interesting videos like this.